Fast-paced visuals of hands rummaging through a car seat, a dusty hotel drawer, and a kitchen junk drawer, cutting to a close-up of a magnified Australian 20-cent coin. Stop, look down. That old coin sitting in your car seat, that strange change on the hotel nightstand, or the copper rattling in your kitchen drawer. It might not just be pocket change. It could be your ticket to a fortune. We're talking rare Australian rarities worth thousands, even millions, hiding in plain sight. From the legendary 1966 wavy baseline to the impossible double-headed errors, these coins don't just make history. They change lives overnight. You are watching Legacy Coins USA. I'm your host, and today we are diving deep into the vault. We hunt, we find, we value. Buckle up, because your fortune is waiting to be discovered. Let's get started. Have you ever casually tossed a handful of loose change onto the counter without a second glance? If so, you might want to start paying closer attention, because nestled among those ordinary copper-colored discs could be a life-changing fortune. The world of Australian coin collecting is filled with stories of everyday people stumbling upon rare treasures, but none are as famous or as coveted as the 1966 wavy 20-cent piece. This is not just a coin. For collectors, it is the holy grail of modern Australian decimal currency, a tiny piece of metal that has the power to transform your financial future overnight. Its creation is shrouded in mystery, its value is astonishing, and it could be hiding in your piggy bank right now, waiting to be discovered. To the untrained eye, it looks almost identical to any other 20-cent coin you'd find jingling in your pocket. It features the iconic platypus design by Stuart Devlin, swimming through stylized water ripples, with the effigy of a young Queen Elizabeth II on the other side. It's round, it's made of copper nickel, and it weighs about 11.3 grams. But a microscopic difference, a tiny flaw that occurred during the minting process over 58 years ago, is what separates a common piece of currency from a specimen worth thousands. In 1966, Australia switched to decimal currency, and millions of these 20-cent pieces were struck, over 58 million of them, to be precise, split between the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra and the Royal Mint in London. Most of them are common, but a tiny, unknown fraction from the London batch holds the secret. The secret lies in the baseline of the number 2 in the denomination on the reverse side. On a standard coin, the horizontal bar at the bottom of the 2 is perfectly straight. However, on the ultra-rare variety, this baseline has a distinct, flowing wave to it. It's a subtle curvature, almost like a gentle ripple, that transforms the coin from being worth 20 cents into a collector's item valued at thousands of dollars. Numismatic experts, like Tony Byron, a former chief numismatist at the Royal Australian Mint, believe this wavy effect was likely caused by a tiny piece of debris or a small impact on the die before it was hardened, which then imprinted this unique feature onto every coin struck from that particular die. The value of such a find is enough to make your heart skip a beat. While a heavily worn, wavy baseline, 20-cent piece found in loose change might sell for between $200 and $600, a coin in pristine condition is where the real fairy tale begins. Examples that have been preserved in mint state, often discovered in unopened rolls from 1966, can command prices between $3,000 and a staggering $10,000. In fact, the finest known examples, graded at MS66 by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, are worth closer to the $10,000 mark. Imagine finding that in a jar of old coins you were about to take to the bank. While the $19 million figure mentioned in some online hype doesn't apply to the 20-cent piece, the dream of becoming a billionaire overnight is not entirely detached from Australian coin history. The title of Australia's most valuable coin belongs to a select few pre-decimal treasures, most notably the 1930 proof penny. This coin is the undisputed king of Australian numismatics. Struck during the Great Depression, the Melbourne Mint produced a tiny number of proof pennies for archival purposes, and only 6 are believed to exist today. Their value is almost beyond comprehension. One sold at auction in 2009 for an estimated $2 million Australian dollars, which equates to a life-changing sum that could set up generations for life. If you find yourself captivated by the idea of hunting for treasure, your search shouldn't stop with the 20-cent piece. The year 1966 itself is a goldmine for rare coins. For instance, the round 50-cent coin from that year is a spectacular find. Unlike the current 12-sided 50-cent piece, the 1966 version was round and, most importantly, made of 80% silver. When the price of silver skyrocketed shortly after its release, people began hoarding and melting them down. Today, just the silver content in one of these coins is worth around $15, but in collectible condition, its historical significance makes it far more valuable. Imagine being given one of these in your change, mistaken for a 20-cent piece, as has happened to many unsuspecting Australians. Another monumental error to watch for involves the bicentennial coins of 1988. To celebrate 200 years since the First Fleet, the Royal Australian Mint produced a special 50-cent piece featuring a ship from the First Fleet. However, a catastrophic minting error occurred. A small number of 50-cent coins were accidentally struck with the standard coat of arms reverse instead of the commemorative design. This mule error is so excessively rare that only two are known to be in circulation. One of these coins recently sold for an incredible $14,750. It stands as a powerful reminder that sometimes the coins that were never supposed to exist are the ones that hold the most value. So what are you waiting for? The information you've just read is not just a history lesson, it's a potential treasure map. Take a moment right now to dump out that old piggy bank, sift through the glove box of your car, or investigate that dusty jar of coins you've been ignoring for years. Look closely at every 20-cent piece from 1966. Is the bottom of the two perfectly straight, or does it have that magical, telltale wave? Do you have any round 50-cent coins that chime with a high-pitched ring when you flick them? You might just be holding a ticket to unimaginable wealth, a small fortune disguised as pocket change. Don't spend them at any cost until you've had them checked by a professional. Your journey to becoming a millionaire could be just a magnifying glass away. Keep a close eye on your change because that hidden treasure might be sitting right in your pocket. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a big find. Stay tuned because in the next video, we're diving into another legendary coin that could be worth a small fortune. Coin number 2. Imagine holding a piece of history in the palm of your hand, a small, circular disc of copper nickel that could be worth a fortune far beyond its humble face value of 20 cents. The allure of striking it rich by finding a rare coin in your loose change is a dream that has captivated collectors and everyday Australians for decades. And while the legendary 1966 wavy baseline 20-cent piece often steals the spotlight, its successor from 1967 holds secrets of its own. For the year 1967, the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra was in full swing, producing a staggering 83,848,000 20-cent coins. On the surface, these coins appear identical to their predecessors, featuring the beloved swimming platypus design by Stuart Devlin on one side and the elegant young effigy of Queen Elizabeth II by Arnold Machin on the other. They are round, weigh exactly 11.3 grams, and are made from the standard copper-nickel alloy that has become familiar to generations of Australians. To the untrained eye, it is simply money, something to be spent without a second thought. But what if that seemingly ordinary coin in your piggy bank is anything but ordinary? The critical distinction that every hopeful treasure hunter must understand is that the specific, famous, wavy baseline era that makes the 1966 issue so incredibly valuable, where the horizontal bar at the bottom of the 2 in 20 has a distinct wave instead of a straight line, has not been documented for the 1967 issue. This means that a standard, circulated 1967 20-cent piece found in your everyday change is, in terms of rarity, considered quite common, and its monetary value is precisely 20 cents. However, this does not mean that 1967 is a year devoid of hope or potential wealth. The value of a coin is determined by more than just its date. Condition, minting errors, and historical context all play pivotal roles in transforming a piece of pocket change into a collector's prize. So, before you dismiss that 1967 platypus coin, take a much closer look, because the devil, as they say, is in the details. One of the most fascinating aspects of coin collecting is the hunt for minting errors, those accidental anomalies that occur during the striking process and create coins that are uniquely flawed and incredibly desirable. For the 1967 20-cent piece, a truly spectacular error exists that could make your heart stop if you ever discovered it. This is known as a split planchet error, a catastrophic failure where the metal blank or planchet actually splits or delaminates, either during the striking or shortly thereafter. A documented example of such a coin exists with a remarkable provenance. In 1968, the owner's mother dropped this very 1967 20-cent coin on the floor of a milk bar in Bundoora, Victoria, and it dramatically split in half. Imagine the shock of seeing your coin literally break apart. This specific error coin, with its incredible story attached, is a testament to how a manufacturing flaw can create a piece of numismatic history worth far more than its weight in gold. Beyond catastrophic errors like split planchets, the condition of a standard 1967 20-cent coin is the single most important factor in determining its value. While the mintage figure of nearly 84 million coins ensures that well-worn examples are plentiful and worthless beyond their face value, a coin that has survived in pristine, untouched condition is a different story entirely. If you happen to possess a 1967 20-cent piece that has never been in circulation, perhaps one carefully preserved in an original mint roll or hidden away in a drawer for decades, its value can increase significantly. Such coins, described as uncirculated, retain their original mint luster and show no signs of wear. For instance, a 1967 20-cent coin in very fine VF condition, meaning it has seen only minimal circulation, can be valued by dealers at around €5 or approximately $8 Australian dollars. A truly uncirculated example would command an even higher premium. To truly appreciate the potential treasure hiding in your collection, it is essential to understand the broader context of Australian coinage. While the 1967 20-cent piece may not have its own famous die variety, the 1966 coin's wavy baseline era remains one of the most sought-after decimal coins in the country, with well-preserved examples fetching anywhere from $200 to well over $1,000. Furthermore, the world of Australian eras extends far beyond the platypus. The 2001 $10 mule era, where a $1 coin was accidentally struck with a 10-cent obverse die, is another famous find that can be worth thousands. These stories fuel the dream that keeps collectors searching through their change, knowing that the next incredible discovery could be just a coin flip away. Another intriguing variety that emerged in the early 1980s further illustrates the potential for unexpected value. For the 1981 20-cent coin, a small number were mistakenly struck on planchets intended for the Hong Kong $2 coin. This error resulted in a coin with a different composition and weight, and its extreme rarity, with only 6 pieces reported, means that each one carries an astonishing approximate value of $7,500. This serves as a powerful reminder that the date on the coin is just the starting point. The true story lies in the metal, the strike, and the journey it took to be made. So what should you do if you have a jar of old Australian coins tucked away in a corner, or a collection of 20-cent pieces from the late 1960s? The first step is never to spend them without a thorough inspection. Take a magnifying glass or even the macro lens on your phone and examine each coin carefully. Look for any anomalies. Is the metal perfectly smooth, or are there any signs of cracking or delamination? How does the condition compare to other coins from the same era? Is it remarkably shiny and free from marks? For the 1967 coin, while you won't find the famous wavy baseline, you are searching for the pristine specimen or the catastrophic error that makes it a unique artifact. In conclusion, while the headline-grabbing, multi-million-dollar valuations associated with some pre-decimal Australian coins, like the 1930 proof penny, remain a distant fantasy for the 1967 20-cent piece, the dream of finding a valuable coin is still very much alive. The 1967 platypus coin, with its massive mintage, teaches us the fundamental lesson of numismatics. Rarity and condition are king. A common coin in perfect, uncirculated condition holds value, and a coin with a dramatic error like a split planchet is a true collector's gem. So, take a moment to dive into that old piggy bank or sift through the coins you've accumulated over the years. You might not become a billionaire overnight, but you could very well uncover a small, unexpected treasure, a tangible piece of Australian history that is far more valuable than its face value. Don't spend them at any cost until you are absolutely sure of what you hold. Your ticket to a pleasant surprise might just be waiting to be discovered. Coin number 3. The year 1970 represents a fascinating chapter in this ongoing saga, a year that, on the surface, seems ordinary but holds secrets that could make your heart skip a beat. Let us begin our journey by understanding exactly what a standard 1970 Australian 20-cent coin looks like, for you cannot recognize the extraordinary without first knowing the ordinary. This coin is a beautiful piece of numismatic art, round in shape with a diameter of 28.65 millimeters and weighing precisely 11.3 grams. It is struck from a durable copper-nickel alloy, giving it that familiar silvery appearance that feels substantial in your hand. On one side, you will find the iconic swimming platypus designed by Stuart Devlin, the beloved Australian mammal depicted amidst stylized water swirls, with the denomination 20 positioned above its head. Look very closely at the water swirls near the platypus's right forepaw, and you might just spot the tiny artist's initials, SD, hidden within the design. On the other side, the coin bears the young effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, the second portrait, created by Arnold Machin, showing the Queen wearing her beautiful Girls of Great Britain and Ireland diamond tiara, with the inscription ELIZABTH II Australia 1970 encircling her portrait. The mintage figures for the 1970 20-cent piece tell us an important story about its relative scarcity compared to other years. According to official records from the Royal Australian Mint, a total of 23,271,000 standard circulation coins were produced in 1970. Now, 23 million sounds like an enormous number, and in many ways it is, but context is everything in the world of coin collecting. Compare this to the 83.8 million coins minted in 1967 or the 84.4 million struck in 1980, and you begin to see that the 1970 issue is actually a moderately scarce year. While it is not in what collectors call the scarce range of under 10 million coins, like the famous 1971 issue, which had only 8.9 million minted, it is still a lower mintage year that commands attention from serious collectors. Beyond the circulation strikes, the Royal Australian Mint also produced 15,000 proof coins in 1970, specially struck for collectors with mirror-like finishes and exceptional detail, often included in annual proof sets that are highly sought after today. Now here is where your personal treasure hunt becomes truly exciting. While you won't find a wavy baseline error on a 1970 coin, that famous variety is unique to 1966. The year still offers opportunities for discovery that could put a smile on your face and money in your pocket. The value of any coin you find depends critically on its condition, what collectors call its grade. A standard 1970 20-cent piece that has circulated for decades, showing the typical wear and tear of everyday use, is worth exactly 20 cents. But if you happen to find one that has survived in exceptional condition, perhaps one that was tucked away in a collection and never spent, its value increases significantly. For example, a 1970 coin graded VF, very fine condition, meaning it shows only light wear on the highest points of the design, has an approximate retail value of €11.95, or around $20 Australian dollars. An uncirculated specimen, one with its original mint luster intact and no signs of circulation, would command an even higher premium. The emotional thrill of coin collecting lies in the possibility of discovering something unexpected, and for the 1970 20-cent piece, that unexpected discovery might come from its presence in special mint sets or proof sets. Many Australians in 1970 purchased these specially packaged coin sets as gifts or keepsakes, and over the decades, Some have been forgotten in drawers, cupboards, and safe deposit boxes. If you come across an intact 1970 uncirculated set or proof set, you have found something far more valuable than a single coin. These complete sets, containing the 50 cents James Cook commemorative, 20 cents, 10 cents, 5 cents, 2 cents, and 1 cent, are collectible in their own right and preserve the coins in pristine condition. The proof sets, with only 15,000 produced, are particularly desirable to collectors who appreciate the sharp strikes and mirrored backgrounds that showcase Stuart Devlin's magnificent platypus design in all its glory. To truly understand the potential treasure hiding in your collection, you must broaden your perspective beyond a single year and consider the entire landscape of rare Australian 20-cent pieces. The undisputed king of this realm remains the 1966 wavy baseline variety, where the bottom of the number 2 has a distinct wave rather than a straight line. Only a tiny fraction of the 58.2 million 20-cent coins struck in 1966 possess this feature, and their value reflects their extreme rarity. Depending on condition, these coins can be worth between $200 for a worn example and an astonishing $5,500 for a specimen in perfect, uncirculated condition. Coin collector Michael Macaulay, who has been fortunate enough to find 3 of these treasures himself, confirms that people continue to discover them in change jars and old collections to this day. Imagine the thrill of being one of those lucky finders. Another spectacular rarity that demonstrates the life-changing potential of coin collecting is the 1981 20-cent piece struck on a Hong Kong $2 planchet. This extraordinary minting error occurred when coin blanks intended for Hong Kong's currency were accidentally fed into Australian coin presses. The result was a 20-cent coin with a different composition and weight than normal, and its extreme rarity, with only 6 examples ever reported, means that each one carries an astonishing approximate value of $7,500. If you ever find a 1981 20-cent piece that feels slightly different in weight or appearance, do not spend it. You may be holding one of the rarest modern Australian coins in existence. This is the kind of discovery that transforms an ordinary day into an extraordinary one and turns pocket change into a significant windfall. Perhaps the most encouraging message for the everyday treasure hunter comes from the story of the 1971 20-cent piece. With a mintage of only 8.9 million coins, it falls squarely into what collectors call the scarce range, between 5 million and 10 million coins. Coin expert Michael Macaulay explains that coins from this range are genuinely hard to find and sought after by collectors. A 1971 20-cent piece in perfect condition recently sold for $80, while even those in fairly circulated condition can attract interest from collectors willing to pay a few dollars above face value. This proves that you don't need to find a $1 million era coin to profit from your collection. Sometimes, simply having a coin from a low mintage year in good condition can be your ticket to a pleasant surprise. As you sit reading this, perhaps with a jar of old coins beside you or a collection tucked away in a cupboard, let the message sink in. You might be closer to a life-changing discovery than you ever imagined. The 1970 20-cent piece in your possession may not be the rarest coin ever minted, but its moderate mintage of 23 million means that well-preserved examples have genuine value to collectors. And beyond that single year, the broader world of Australian decimal coinage offers countless opportunities for discovery. The legendary 1966 wavy baseline, the incredibly rare 1981 Hong Kong planchet era, the scarce 1971 low mintage issue, and the pristine proof coins preserved in forgotten mint sets. Take a moment right now to examine every coin in your possession. Look closely at the date, study the condition, and if anything seems unusual or remarkably well preserved, seek the advice of a professional coin dealer. Your ticket to unimaginable wealth might be hiding in plain sight, waiting for you to recognize its true value and change your fortune overnight. Coin number 4. While the world of Australian coins is filled with legendary treasures like the 1966 wavy baseline 20-cent piece worth thousands, every year holds its own secrets. The 1974 20-cent coin, with its familiar platypus swimming through stylized water, might look ordinary at first glance, but hidden among the millions minted that year are variations so rare they could make your heart stop and your fortune change forever. Let us first understand what makes a standard 1974 20-cent piece, so you can better recognize the extraordinary when it appears in your collection. This beautiful round coin, struck by the Royal Australian Mint, is made from durable copper nickel and weighs a substantial 11.3 grams with a diameter of 28.65 millimeters. The reverse features the iconic swimming platypus designed by Stuart Devlin, with the denomination 20 positioned above the platypus's head and the artist's tiny initials SD hidden within the water swirls near its right forepaw, a secret signature waiting to be discovered by the observant. The obverse bears the elegant young effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, the second portrait by Arnold Machin, showing the Queen wearing her magnificent diamond tiara, with the inscription ELIZABTHII Australia 1974 encircling her portrait. With a total mintage of approximately 33.5 million circulation coins, the 1974 20-cent piece is classified as common in terms of overall availability. But as any seasoned collector will tell you, common coins can sometimes hide the most extraordinary secrets. Now here is where your personal treasure hunt becomes truly electrifying. While a standard circulated 1974 20-cent piece is worth exactly 20 cents, an uncirculated example in pristine condition can fetch around $8 from collectors who appreciate its preservation. But this modest value pales in comparison to the true rarity that exists for this year, the legendary 1974 double-headed 20-cent era coin. This is not a coin you will find in any standard collection. It is a numismatic ghost, a coin that should not exist. According to documented research, a double-headed 1974 20-cent piece was struck, with the two head sides oriented at 180 degrees to each other. What makes this coin even more astonishing is that it appears to be the only such known double-headed 1974 20-cent piece in existence. Imagine holding a coin that is unique in the world, a piece of minting history that survived against all odds. The story behind these double-headed eras adds a layer of mystery and intrigue to their already immense value. Such major mint eras are exceptionally rare in Australian decimal coinage, and double-headed or double-tailed coins are perhaps the rarest of all. The manufacturing process makes their accidental creation extremely difficult, leading experts to theorize that a number of these era coins from the 1970s, including this 1974 specimen, might be the result of mint workers experimenting in their spare time rather than genuine production errors. This possibility transforms the coin from a simple mistake into a piece of clandestine history, a secret artifact created beyond official protocols, now worth a fortune to collectors who prize uniqueness above all else. One such example was sold in a prestigious Noble auction in November 2010, cementing its status as a coveted treasure. To truly understand the potential value hiding in your collection, you must look beyond the 1974 coin to the broader landscape of rare Australian 20-cent pieces. The undisputed king remains the 1966 wavy baseline variety, where the bottom of the number 2 has a distinct wave rather than a straight line. In perfect condition, these legendary coins have been known to fetch between $3,000 and $5,500, transforming the lives of lucky finders who discovered them in ordinary change jars and old collections. Coin expert Michael McCauley, who has personally found multiple treasures, confirms that people continue to make these life-changing discoveries today. This is the dream that keeps collectors searching, the knowledge that fortune favors the observant. The rarity of coins from this era is not limited to dramatic eras alone. Consider the 1971 20-cent piece, which had a mintage of only 8.9 million coins, firmly within what collectors call the scarce range of between 5 million and 10 million coins. 1971 20-cent piece in perfect condition recently sold for $80, while even those in fairly circulated condition can attract interest from collectors willing to pay a few dollars above face value. This demonstrates a crucial principle. You don't need to find a million-dollar error to profit from your collection. Sometimes, simply having a coin from a low mintage year in good condition can be your ticket to a pleasant surprise and a modest windfall. The emotional resonance of coin collecting lies in these moments of discovery, the realization that something ordinary is actually extraordinary, that pocket change can become a prized artifact. The 1974 double-headed era coin represents the pinnacle of this experience. While no specific auction price is documented in available sources, the extreme rarity of being the only known specimen of its kind suggests a valuation that could reach many thousands of dollars. This is the kind of discovery that transforms an ordinary evening of sorting through coins into a story you will tell for generations. The night you found a coin that made your fortune. As you sit reading this, perhaps with a jar of old coins beside you or a collection tucked away in a cupboard, let the message sink in. You might be closer to a life-changing discovery than you ever imagined. The 1974 20-cent piece in your possession may be a common coin worth only its face value, but it could also be hiding in plain sight as a unique double-headed error, a specimen so rare that only one is known to exist. Beyond this single year, the broader world of Australian decimal coinage offers countless opportunities for discovery. The legendary 1966 wavy baseline, the incredibly rare 1981 Hong Kong planchet error, the scarce 1971 low mintage issue. Take a moment right now to examine every coin in your possession. Look closely at both sides, study the alignment, and if anything seems unusual, if you find a coin with two heads or any other anomaly, seek the advice of a professional coin dealer immediately. Your ticket to unimaginable wealth might be hiding in plain sight, waiting for you to recognize its true value and change your fortune overnight. Coin number 5. Wavy baseline, 20-cent piece often grabs the headlines with its astonishing value. The coins that followed in its wake each have their own stories to tell. The year 1980 represents a fascinating chapter in this ongoing saga, a year of massive production that on the surface seems ordinary but holds secrets that could make your heart skip a beat when you discover what might be hiding in your collection. Let us begin our journey by understanding exactly what a standard 1980 Australian 20-cent coin looks like, for you cannot recognize the extraordinary without first knowing the ordinary. This coin is a beautiful piece of numismatic art, round in shape with a diameter of 28.65 millimeters and weighing precisely 11.3 grams. It is struck from a durable copper-nickel alloy, giving it that familiar silvery appearance that feels substantial in your hand. On one side, you will find the iconic swimming platypus designed by Stuart Devlin, the beloved Australian mammal depicted amidst stylized water swirls, with the denomination 20 positioned above its head. Look very closely at the water swirls, and you might just spot the tiny artist's initials, SD, hidden within the design. On the other side, the coin bears the young effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, the second portrait created by Arnold Machin, showing the Queen wearing her beautiful diamond tiara, with the inscription ELIZABTH II Australia 1980 encircling her portrait. The mintage figures for the 1980 20-cent piece tell us an important story about its place in the world of coin collecting. According to official records, a staggering 84,468,000 standard circulation coins were produced in 1980, making it one of the highest mintage years for the denomination. To put this in perspective, this is nearly 10 times the mintage of the scarce 1971 issue, which had only 8.9 million coins struck. With such an enormous production run, the standard 1980 20-cent piece is classified by collectors as common in terms of overall availability. A circulated example in typical worn condition is worth exactly 20 cents, and even a well-preserved specimen in VF, very fine condition, is valued at only around €5 or approximately $8 Australian dollars. But here is where your personal treasure hunt becomes truly electrifying. While the standard 1980 coin is common, there are specific varieties and errors from this era that could transform a modest collection into a small fortune. The early 1980s were a tumultuous time for Australian coin production, with industrial strikes at the Royal Australian Mint, forcing the government to contract overseas mints to strike Australian coins. This period of overseas production created unique opportunities for minting errors and variations that collectors prize today. Some 20-cent coins from this era were struck at the Royal Canadian Mint, and these overseas strikes sometimes exhibit subtle differences that can significantly increase their value to knowledgeable collectors. One of the most fascinating varieties from this general period is known as the 3.5 claw era, affecting 20-cent coins from 1981. This distinctive variety features a platypus whose left paw appears to be missing 1.5 of its claws, a subtle but significant die variation that occurred during the overseas minting process. These particular coins were struck at the Royal Canadian Mint during the strike period when the Royal Australian Mint was unable to keep up with production demands. Such examples can sell for $40 to as much as $300, demonstrating how a tiny die flaw can multiply a coin's value by hundreds or even thousands of times its face value. The emotional thrill of coin collecting lies in these moments of discovery, the realization that something ordinary is actually extraordinary, that pocket change can become a prized artifact. While the specific 3.5 claw variety is documented for 1981, the existence of overseas strikes and potential die variations for 1980 coins means that careful examination of every coin in your collection is essential. Look closely at the platypus's claws, study the water swirls, and compare your coins to high-resolution images online. You might be holding a rare variety that has escaped notice for decades. Beyond individual coin varieties, another treasure from 1980 exists that could be hiding in plain sight: the 1980 Australia 6-coin proof set. These specially packaged sets, containing a pristine 20-cent piece alongside the other denominations of the era, were produced for collectors and as gifts. Over the decades, many have been forgotten in drawers, cupboards, and safe deposit boxes. If you come across an intact 1980 proof set, you have found something far more valuable than a single coin. These sets preserve the coins in perfect, uncirculated condition with mirror-like finishes that showcase Stuart Devlin's magnificent platypus design in all its glory. A complete proof set from 1980 can be worth hundreds of dollars to collectors who appreciate the sharp strikes and presentation. To truly understand the potential value hiding in your collection, you must consider the broader landscape of rare Australian decimal coins. The world of mint errors extends far beyond die varieties, encompassing spectacular mistakes like coins struck on the wrong planchet. Consider the example of a 2017 Australian 20-cent coin that was accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a triangular Cook Islands $2 coin, which sold at auction for an estimated $12,000 to $14,000 Australian dollars. While this is a modern era, it demonstrates the incredible value that minting mistakes can command. Similarly, major mint errors from the 1980s, such as coins struck on incorrect denomination planchets, regularly sell for thousands of dollars at auction. As you sit reading this, perhaps with a jar of old coins beside you or a collection tucked away in a cupboard, let the message sink in. You might be closer to a discovery than you ever imagined. The 1980 20-cent piece in your possession may be a common coin worth only its face value, but it could also be hiding a rare die variety, an overseas minting characteristic, or be part of a forgotten proof set worth hundreds. Beyond this single year, the broader world of Australian decimal coinage offers countless opportunities for discovery. The legendary 1966 wavy baseline, the incredibly rare 1981 Hong Kong planchet era, the scarce 1971 low mintage issue, and the pristine proof coins preserved in forgotten mint sets. Take a moment right now to examine every coin in your possession. Look closely at every detail, study the condition, and if anything seems unusual or remarkably well preserved, seek the advice of a professional coin dealer. Your ticket to unimaginable wealth might be hiding in plain sight, waiting for you to recognize its true value and change your fortune overnight.